Hey everyone, hi, welcome to another video where I'm going to show you how I made these beautiful and cute Superduo beaded beads. Now this tutorial is a great stash buster where you can just use your leftover Superduo beads in order to do this bead. And this bead is so versatile. You can use it in so many different ways. You can just make it into a beautiful bracelet, you can add into chains, and you can wear it just like that as a pendant, or you can use these beads to make earrings. I haven't yet thought of what I'm going to do with these beads, just that I wanted to show you how to make this beautiful beaded bead. It's really easy, takes no time to make, and maybe in the next couple of videos I'm going to show you what I did with these beads, but in this video I'm only going to show you how I made these beads. So I hope that you will stay tuned for the video, and I'll show you what you need to make this beautiful cute beaded bead. So to make a beaded bead you will need 12 Superduo beads, 6 3mm rondelle crystal, or anything that you have. It might be a bicone, it might be a fire polish bead, whatever you have in hand. Along with that you will need approximately 1 gram of ado and 1 or less than that 11 O's, and of course needle and thread of your choice. So let's get started in making this beautiful beaded bead. So let's get started. You want to first pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 Superduo beads, and you want to take the beads to the very end of your thread. And you want to go around the beads, the same Superduo beads, in a circle, sorry about the birds guys, the parrots here decided to sing along. So I've gone through the beads, and then I'm going to make a couple of good knots. In this way. And now I want to take my needle and come out of the other hole of one of the Superduo beads. Exactly in this way. Now pick up an ado, go through the next Superduo bead, pick up an ado, go through the next Superduo. Continue doing this to the end of your beadwork. Now at the last end you're going to pick up a ado, go through the Superduo and also the ado seed bead in this way. Now what I'm going to do is, my thread is coming out the upper side of my ado. I'm going to take an ado and go through the same ado bead in this way, but in a round. Pass through the next Superduo and the ado. Pick up an ado, go through the same ado and the Superduo and the next 8 row. So what we are doing is we are basically creating a brick stitch on top of the 8 rows. Fairly easy to do. So I'm just going to go through the beads and create brick stitches of 8 rows on top of the 8 rows. Let's do this one last time. This time I'm going to go through the 8 row, the Superduo and the 8 row. At this point, your work should look like this. Now, my thread is coming out of this 8 row right here in this way. Now I'm going to go through the top 8 row of the same bead, just like that, and I'm going to pick up an Superduo and pass through the top 8 row of the last round, but in the opposite direction. Why? Because my thread is in the opposite direction. So I'm just going around in the opposite direction, picking up a Superduo, passing through the 8 rows. Just like that. Putting the last Superduo bead into the 8 row and going through the next Superduo bead. Now when you pull tight, you will see that the 8 rows have eventually placed the Superduos in their right place, and this is how your bead must look like at this point. So now my thread is coming out of a Superduo. If you want, you can go around the 8 rows and the Superduos one more time to reinforce it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that off camera later on. So my thread is coming out of this Superduo right here. I'm going to go into the next hole of the same Superduo, and here I'm going to take my needle and pass through all the upper holes of the newly added Superduo beads. Only the Superduo beads. I'm not going to pick up any more seed bead. I'm just going to go through the Superduos 1 or 2 times just to reinforce my bead and to just give it that look. See, when I pulled it, this is what my bead must look like. This is the basic bead that I created using the Superduo and the 8 rows. Now will be the part where we are going to do the embellishment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my video right here. I'm going to take my needle and thread. I'm going to trim the tail end, and I'm going to go through the bead several times just to reinforce my work and make the bead sturdy, and then I'm going to come back and show you how I did the embellishment part. Alright guys, I got rid of my tail thread here, and then I have reinforced my bead. Now my thread is coming out of a Superduo on the upper hole. So what I'm going to do is, if you see my bead right here, I'm going to pass my needle through the other hole of my Superduo and also the 8 row that is sitting next to it. Basically, I need to come out of any one of my 8 rows right here. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up an 11, a 3mm, and an 11. The 3mm can be any bead. Okay, now I'm going to go into, my thread is coming out of this bead on the right. I'm going to go into the next bead on the left, or the upper 8 row on the left, in this way. Pick up an 11, 3mm, 11, My thread is coming out of this bead. I'm going to go into the upper right 8-0. So first I went left, now I'm going right with the same amount of beads. Again I'm going to pick up an 11, 3 millimeter, 11. I'm coming out of right, going into the upper 8-0 on the left. (11), 3 millimeter, 11, coming out of left, going into the upper right 8-0, coming out of left, picking up the same amount of beads, 11, 3 millimeter, 11, going into the left side or the upper left, coming out of the left side or the lower left, picking up a 11, 3 millimeter, 11, going into the upper right 8-0 or the bead where we started our work, just like that. So I've completed half of my embellishment. My thread is coming out of the same bead from where we started. So here I'm going to change the position of my thread. I'm going to go into, my thread is coming out of the left bead. I'm going to go into the bead or the right side of the 8-0, sitting exactly next to the bead that my thread was coming out of. So I just went from this way to this way. Now my thread is coming out of an 8-0. I'm going to pick up only an 11, go through the 3 millimeter, pull tight, pick up 11, go into the next free 8-0 bead, the bead that is free or is not holding any bead. Now my thread is coming out of this 8-0. I'm going to pick up an 11, go into the 3 millimeter, pick up an 11, go into the free 8-0 or the bead that is free, doing the same thing, picking up an 11, going into the 3 millimeter, picking up an 11, going into the next free bead. Now you will see what this does is the embellishment is making the bead more sturdy. I'm going to pick up an 11, go through the 3 millimeter, pick up an 11, go into the next free bead, and then I'm going to just continue doing that until I am at the very end of my work, or I have just completed the whole of the embellishment part, gone through all of the 3 millimeters, and this is where I'm going to stop because this is my last 11-0 that I have to put here. So now if you see, you have created very easily and in no time a beautiful Superduo beaded bead. See, just like that. Now I'm going to just go underneath the thread bridge and create a good couple of half-inch knots, and I'm going to cut my thread and I'm going to meet you after that. So this is how your beaded beads must look like. I hope the instructions were clear and you liked the video, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel for more such beautiful beading videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.